All right, good morning. Hope everybody's doing well. Yes, I am back. Welcome back. Yeah, last week was a horrible week for me. I was not doing well at all. Not one bit. So I went on a trip to San Diego with my son. We did um, a school field trip. So I was just probably exposed to millions of different bacteria. We went to SeaWorld. Yeah, it was just rough. So we get back, we feel all right the next day, and like after that, he and I are both just laid up in the bathroom, just flu, horrible. Yeah, it was ruthless. So I do apologize for not being here for y'all, but I was sick. I was sick AF. It was not pretty. So, um, I'm going to give a few more minutes for people to show up. I know that some people weren't expecting me to be here today, and when they do, we'll get going into it. Okay. Most importantly, there's a couple of things that have come out overnight. The most important one is obviously Tesla. Rumors about a new stock split coming in. It's at a place where it's either going to explode or it's going to consolidate back down around this $1,000 level. Personally, is it buy the rumor, sell the news, right? I don't know about this one. So Tesla, I mean, it's set up to be decent. Looking at it on a different chart, yes, I know. There's Boeing. We're not going to talk about Boeing. All right. Tesla big rip overnight. So on these, we look for pullbacks to major Kettler support channel levels, right? We got the 4-hour top coming in here, and it looks like that monthly too. Nah, that can't be the monthly. Oh, I guess it is. Up in the monthly cloud. So look at the upside target, right? It closed at 1,000. It's up 80 points already. The next logical level is another 100 points up. So I like a pullback to the 21, right? The 4-hour 21. So this $1,000 level, 995,000. See what happens there, right? It's super bullish though. Like, don't get me wrong. It's super. It's an Uber trifecta mode, as they would say. Okay. All right. Let's get into the news. I fully anticipate the next couple days of the stream to be kind of lame, where people were like, "Where are you?" Yeah, I know. Yeah, my bad. But let's see. Futures, we'll get into those. And just want to make sure I get the right charts up here. Quant levels for that. Magic Celts. We will use the Magic Celts. All right. AT&T has declared a stock dividend to affect the spinoff of 100% of AT&T's interest in Warner Media to AT&T shareholders. The record date for the stock dividend is the close of business on April 5th. So I guess that what that means is AT&T's notoriously been known for its morning killer. It's notoriously been known for its dividend, right? People buy AT&T just for that dividend because it's a really high one. I would any dips on AT&T, any dips. I'm gonna start loading that up again. 2375 esque, right around that level there. Seems pretty decent. So, or even as low as 2350. I don't think we see sub 23 again for a long time, right? So 2325, 2350, 2375, any of those are pretty decent. If you just want to grab the dividend and that's it, then load it up before close on April 5th. I would do it on April 4th or even a couple days before that, just because everybody's going to rush in to get that dividend. Okay. SE, yo, we haven't seen anything. We haven't seen news from SE for a while, right? It's closing its India operations less than a year after expanding into the populous South Asian nation. Shopee said in a statement Monday they will exit India in view of global market uncertainties. Makes sense. Cinemark calling Netflix. Boom. Netflix are. I'm looking for a new bread and butter stock to trade. I think Netflix may be the one. Mentioned positively in Barron, saying it is the only company expected to earn a profit from streaming this year, as Amazon, Apple, Paramount are years behind. Meanwhile, Netflix shares have underperformed versus movie chains AMC and Cinemark. That's, well, you got to take that with a grain of salt, right? Netflix doesn't have the whole ape nation behind it, right? Netflix is wedging, right? Big old bull flag. I don't know about that. Let's see. Yeah, big old wedge. Let's just call it a wedge. All right. So on this one, we're looking for a 4-hour bottom, 4-hour mid, 4-hour top play, right? So if we can get up above the 4-hour mid, which is where we closed yesterday, or closed on Friday. So 375, above 375, magnet up to about 385, okay? I think that's a pretty decent range. You could do 385, you could do the 360, and 365 would be pushing it, but 365 puts, 375 calls, 385 calls, or anything in between. You could potentially do an iron condor, split it at 375, 385, 365, something like that. Yeah, I know, dude. Dude, that was rough. But I'm starting to feel healthy again. Yeah, just yeah. Ruthless. Healthcare news, nothing really that I would want to look at. Maybe some GlaxoSmithKline, but none of the big boys. Business. Ooh, bank ratings have changed. Bank rating changes at Morgan Stanley. So FITB, SYF, ADS downgraded to EW from UW, while Citi, MTB downgraded to underweight. Shares of Bank of America upgraded to overweight, and BK to EW. We need to start keeping an eye on financials. So financials typically are the best investment during inflation fears. Okay, so we'll just look at those. India is not considering buying oil from Russia or any other country using India rupee. So energy, oil is going to be a big deal today. Okay, big deal. So we're going to spend a little bit of time on that. I noticed that it's been a pretty significant pullback. Okay, so we're just going to keep an eye on that. All right, in consumer news, there's a bunch. Walmart is stopping cigarette sales in the U.S. in some U.S. stores after years of debate within their retail management. They've already done that. I think that's kind of built into it already. That's not like anything new. I live in Phoenix, and they've already stopped in Phoenix. So Altera, which is MO, downgraded to sector perform from outperform. That's a big hit for this. This is another one of those dividend stocks that people love to play, just a dividend. So I would say below the 20 or below the 34, we have daily mid 4-hour bottom at 52. Below 52, then we retest the 50-day down at 51. Okay. Tesla, boom. So this is the actual Tesla news. Tesla plans to suspend production at the Shanghai plant for at least one day as local government intensifies COVID restrictions. But that gets superseded with the other news that hasn't been reported about the Tesla rumored stock split. Okay, Tesla is just on a rampage right now. I mean, how low can you go? How high can you fly? I think there's a ceiling at 1105, right? I'd be a player at, let's just say if it below 1040, I think we see a retest of 1,000, right? I've got, what was that, the 980 puts up loaded, something like that. Hold on, let me see if I can find. Where's my sheet? There it is. Oh. Tesla 875, 925 puts. And then the 1050. Oop, look at that. Look at that. Did you see that algorithm just come in and clear the board? You saw it here live. It came in and it cleared that board. Whoosh. Just wiped out all the stops all the way down to 1,000. Yes, sir. You want to look at it on a different chart? That's weird. Did you just hear my... Huh. my tablet just was like, yo, I want to listen in on your conversation a little bit more. All right, there's that flush, that algo flush. It broke the 4 hours. This is a 4-hour mid right here. So one of two things is going to happen. This algo flush has started a new downtrend, or it just wiped out all the stops, and Tesla's going to launch. I'm more of inclined to look at let's see. $950 puts, 900 puts on Tesla. If you're going to look to play the downside, right? This move may have already happened without us. Like, I think people are like, oh, wow, 1080, let's take profit. Boom, down to 1006. That's an $80 candle there. All right? Don't play with Tesla unless you're ready to, I don't know, be on a roller coaster. Tesla also made the news. Tesla asked shareholders to vote on authorizing additional shares stock buyback. AMC's in the news. Bum, bum, bum. CEO Adam Aron says company would embark on more transformational deals to capitalize on interest of retail investors. What does that mean? No clue. No clue what that means for AMC, but I'll tell you what it means for the stock. They're pumping this bull flag, right? They're really trying to break that 2250 level, right? Below 1932, I think we flush back down to 1750. Yeah, 1750. And then we start the cycle back up to 1929 and 21. Kind of a little bull flag form in there. Let's see, how do they do during the day? So rip out of the gate, sell off the rest of the day. Is that what they've been doing lately? Could be. All right. In world news, your boy will propose a minimum 20% tax rate that would hit both the income and unrealized capital gains of U.S. households worth more than $100 million as part of his budget proposal to be released on Monday. The plan, called the Billionaire Minimum Income Tax by the White House, represents the most aggressive proposal by the administration. That's probably the most newsworthy piece that's not getting attention. Seriously, that's huge. Why? Because that's going to affect people that move the market and not us, right? I'm going to share that news real quick. All right, so your boy's out there trying to make moves again, whatever. All right, oil prices tumbled. Yes, okay, oil prices tumbled to more than $5 on Monday. Its fears over weaker fuel demand in China grew after a financial hub Shanghai lockdown efforts to curb a surge in COVID-19 infections. Okay, so yes, we will pay attention to the crude sector. Okay, and then the Bank of Japan offered to buy unlimited amounts of 10-year Japanese government bonds at 0.25% after the 10-year GBP crept up to a 6-year high of 0.245%. It's pretty decent. Okay. Earnings today, we've got Playboy has earnings. I thought I just saw somebody else has earnings. Xpeng, do they? Is it XPEV? I know of XPEV, but not Xpeng. There's XPEV. Oh, that's what it is. Okay, XPEV, XPEV. Thanks. Yeah, they've already had their earnings. They've been released. Decent earnings outcome. I'd be long above 28.75 for a move to about 30. That's about as much as I would look for on the sucker. Above that, we start getting into this trading zone that runs 31 to 36, right? That would be 4-hour top, daily top into the 50-day, okay? That's a pretty decent move pre-market. Nice cup and handle forming into earnings. However, everything's going to be super inflated. That's about it. Eco calendar for today. We've got trade balance at 8:30. Let's look at Forex Factory to see if there's anything we're missing. So trade balance, preliminary wholesale inventories. Those aren't really set to rock the market as much. So I think we're good today. And I think we have more news later this week. Williams is speaking, job openings. Big day on Wednesday. And then the end of the month. It's going to be huge. So Thursday is going to be a big day in the market. Just be aware of that. All right. Oh, let's see, shall we? U.S. stocks are mixed after futures slipped overnight, following another big win for U.S. stocks last week, rising for a second straight week despite interest rates. As the S&P was up 1.79%, the Dow 0.3%, Nasdaq 1.98%. Bonds extended their march higher, touching overnight highs at 2.55% for the 10-year, and oil prices slumped over 4%. Oil's down over 4%, huh? As investors deal with slower near-term growth while pricing in positive developments from peace talks between Russia and Ukraine. Now, I read somewhere, I got a guy that works the oil fields, and what did he say? He said, he's saying that the cost per well, their cost per creating a well is super high, and that gas prices are, don't expect a relief in gas prices, just a shortage in gas. So keep that in mind. So look for gas producers like Chevron or ExxonMobil, right? Get some transition to that. Those things should be much higher, right? ExxonMobil, right? I would look at this down to about 82, right? Chevron, CVX, right? They're all getting hit overnight, but I mean, these are pullbacks to, right? That's a pullback to the 21 4-hour mid. So Chevron, 163 down, 168 up, okay? Investors gained confidence last week as the economy will withstand the escalating war in Ukraine, and the Fed Reserve's plan to lift interest rates to control inflation. The move follows last week's rise of more than 6% of the S&P and more than 8% of the Nasdaq. Stocks finished mixed on Friday. So the benchmark 10-year note jumped 2.491%. This marked the 12th raise in 15 sessions. The yield on the 3-year note climbed 2.51% from 2.34, while the yields on the 5 and the 7 were also above 2.5. The week ahead sees two pivotal reports that have helped shape the market expectations, and that would be the Fed's favorite inflation pressure measurement and the PCE deflator for March, due Thursday ahead of the pivotal March payroll and broad labor markets on Friday. We already went through there, right? Headline PC inflation in February rose by 40-year record to 6.1% year over year. Bitcoin is up above 47,000, highest level since January. Ethereum up 7%, and in Asian markets, the Nikkei index fell 205 points. The Shanghai index rises 2 points, and the Hang Seng gains 280 or 1.3%. In Europe, the DAX is up 250 points, while the FTSE is up 0.5%. Euro is little change, and the yen extends recent losses as the dollar raises above 1.24 versus a haven currency, right? All right, you ready for this? Check it. You think this looks good, doesn't it? Right? What's that candle there? Right. Let's look at this on a 15-minute. So no news, but big pullback to snow line. So if we crack, right, we're coming back to test the 21. So we do have stack positive moving averages. Let's just look at it from the daily perspective first, shall we? All right, big moves, right? Super choppy last couple days. So I was gone. We have a snow line, right, at 44, 45.40. Above that, right, we're coming up into this. See this doji right here? This is the supply zone up here. We're going to trade into that supply zone up to about 45.82, right? 45.75, right? If we can't hold this snow line, we have a 200-day below us at 44.80 or 44.75. Nice little pullback to there, right? That's expected. And then we can continue on. The contrarian would be we break out of 45.50 for a move to the 127 extension from this low to this high, this run, this initial rally, right? I have to look around a little bit more because I'm not sure exactly where my fib level goes. If it goes right at the 200-day, then we've only got, what, another 20 points till we hit the 127. This 1414 is one of my favorite extensions, and I think that may need to come into play. So it's a matter where we run this retracement from. Like, does it go here? Or does it go here? I'm more inclined to put a retracement to the 50-day and just kind of leave it out there as that, 45.74, and then we retrace. But these snow lines are super important. Getting above it is good. We can very easily just chop within it, okay? Breaking it down to the 4-hour, right? Stack positive moving averages, 2150, 200, right? We're making a series of higher lows and higher highs. We're riding that 21, right? That 21 EMA, pretty powerful. As we pull back to it, right? If we crack below it, we've got immediate support from this zone that we just traded through, right? Let me get rid of that sucker, right? 50% retracement from original high to low is right at 44.55. Psychological level, 44.80. I think that we're good to melt up a little bit more. However, if we do reject it, look to the 21 to save us pretty much, right? We start getting a close or two below the 21, especially on the 4-hour. Look for a move back down to the 50-day. I don't think we retest to 200, but it's there. So snow line, rejection, snow line, rejection, snow line, breakthrough, retap for support, continue to move to the upside, right? I don't think we need to draw another trend line right here. Or maybe we do. All right, I would use, you could drop a trend line on a 30-minute chart to look for direction and support, right? Like I said, 45.75 on the ES. All right, checking out the Nasdaq. Yeah, I missed a couple days and I'm a little out of tune, so I have to be real cautious going into it. We do have the 200-day magnet overhead. We also have the snow line at 15,000. So 15,000 is obviously a magnet, right? Let's just call it 1544, 15,000. 15,050 is what I would call it. Tree line support at 14,448. So 200-point range there, not bad. So it looks like you guys dojied on Friday. Is that right? Interesting. So we have stack positive moving averages, 2150, 200. We were right at its previous resistance, right? If we break out above it, then we've got, like I said, we've got the snowline magnet, 15,050, right? We reject it. We can easily chop between these two levels. I would look for the 21, below the 21. This 50 day is going to, so below the 21, we have its tree line here at 14,440 to the downside. To the upside, 15,050, right? I think that's pretty good for the Nasdaq. And we're getting up into this previous trading zone that runs right here, this big one. On the 30-minute chart, we're about to get a 2150 cross up and over. That should go bullish. Last time that happened, we exploded, right? If you wanted to draw a trend line on the 30-minute chart from, you know, it's maintaining its trend line, right? So far, it's maintaining its trend line pretty good. So bull flag breakout, look for big pops. Love it when you call me Big Papa. All right, moving on to the Dilly Dally Daily Dow, which I think is struggling. Okay, it's smacking into this 200-day on the daily. Like it's flagging. It's trying to get out and over it. It's looking like it from a volume. Volume's not bad. Yeah, 35,000 is that key. Well, let's just call it 34,885. Above that, immediately we're going to hit 35,050, which is a 618 retracement from high to low. I personally like that's tough, man, because to the downside, you've got this. We haven't got the 2150 cross up. Like we're not quite uptrending yet. We could chop back and forth pretty easily. From a 4-hour perspective, 1, 2, 3 attempts. Right, we got 2150 cross up and over. So support for the Dow at 34,565. Overhead target at 35,140. Yeah, that zone right there is a tough one to trade into. Okay. If we if we break support of the 21, we have a rising 50-day to help us out. I wouldn't. I don't think I'd be comfortable just slapping a trend line to play that off of the Dow, just because it looks kind of janky, right? There's no clearly defined trend line, but we do have spaghetti strap that's starting to get a little bit untangled. 2150, 200, right? Support. The Dow's just ugly. All right, I'm gonna move over to the red-headed Russell, which seems to be doing. Remember, I think it was last week or a couple weeks ago. I was like, is it really just a Wyckoff pattern? And it appears to be doing that. So what we're looking for. What is this? All right. Choppity chop, 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 right? See that 1414 extension that I keep talking about, how super powerful it is, right? Overhead target 2115, support at 2040. We just had the 21 crossover the 50-day on the daily, okay? So we're gonna start getting a little bit more positive movement to the upside. AMC's in the news. AMC's pretty heavily weighted in the Russell, so just keep an eye on that, okay? Looking at the 4-hour. 4-hour, we're stacked positive, right? We're stuck in this range from tree line to skylines, right? I would look for Actually, overhead target 2115. That makes sense. 2115 on the break above 2085. We could easily chop between 2065 and 2085 for quite a while. With this one, 30-minute trend line, I don't see that either. So I think I think it's this doji here that's causing us all the grief. This one, right? So we have skyline to skyline. We can definitely chop in, right? On the 30-minute, we just got 2150 cross up and over. On Friday, we had the 50 cross to 200. So we're starting to get those stack positive moving averages. Look for some breakouts. All right. And then moving on. All right. Gold. Oh, gold, 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 gold. What is happening with the gold? We fell off. We consolidated on the 21. All right. We've still got this longer term trend line that's being support, but it's also creating a little bit of a wedge, right? I didn't want to draw this trend line last week, right? Grabbing the tops, but that's where we're at. So something's going to pop on gold in the next couple days, right? Above 1961, we get that move back up to 2000. Below 1926, we flush back down to 1900. Okay. Crude. Everybody wants to know what's going on with crude, right? Crude is the M&M of the market right now. Well, nice rally into last week, right? Reversal doji. So at this point, let's clear out all these fib levels that we got here, right? So clean fib retracement, right? It's a 3-point tool from the low to the high, back down to the low. This is a 618 pullback. We can move back down to 105. Right, we hit 107 pre-market, which is here. I think there may be there's 102 is support, right? We can come back down all the way down to 102, and if we bounce from there, then it's just confirmation that the uptrend is continuing, right? If we break down below that, we have to look at as a reversal, as crude starting to sell off. But this is just a healthy pullback off of a nice rally on crude, okay? Breaking it down to the 4-hour, right? $105.35, 102.69, right? Or we bounce here. So we start getting a couple closes. If we start making higher lows off of this level that we're at now, crude's looking pretty good. Last time we retraced to here, we ripped, right? Missed it. Retrace. Okay. All right. ZB, this is bonds, right? All right, I would look for a nice move up in bonds. But if the bond starts to rise, right, which it looks like it's all right. So bonds above 147, we hit 149, 151. Magnet at 153. Contrarian, we can't close back above that. Then we look at this downside move to 144, 142. If the ES is ripping, bonds will continue to be pushed down, okay? All right, and then this is, what did I do? Oh, this is supposed to be the yen, which I can't find. J6. Let me see if I can find the yen again, because I lost it, and something like this. Anyway, I'll look for it offline, and we'll see if we can bring it back. Okay. All right, let's get into it, shall we? I'm going to drop this down to the 3-minute chart, refresh it. So y'all can see this lumpy head right there. Whew. Unfortunately, on our lower time frames, we gave up some key levels, right? We gave up the 50-day on the 3-minute, which means that there's a magnet down to the 200, right? Like I said, let's follow that trend line. I drew one. Okay, so I think we start down at the open. I think that we're gonna have a down day today, and then we yeah, it's gonna be interesting. All right. Yeah, I think we start low. All right, next up, let's get into it. This is FlowTrade. This is the smart money dark pool and block trade algorithm software. All right, it's created its own flow index. Now that flow index is this purple line that you see. The flow index tracks smart money, dark pool, block trades, large institutions, hedge funds, and it's created its own flow index. What we look for with the flow index is the flow index is a predictive indicator, right? It's showing you what's going to happen in the market before it happens. We look for where there's divergence between the two, right? If price action is falling and the flow index is rising, that means that smart money is buying into that position as it's coming down. As soon as it finds a support level or a good value area, it'll start reversing and price will follow the flow index, okay? So with that's AMD, for example, right? Big old pop into last week, right? But the flow index is slowly starting to sell out. This divergence has already played out. There's no real divergence currently, okay? These red lines that you see are regular block trades. These blue lines are dark pool block trades, and white lines are fun. Just kidding. White lines are where there's a regular and a dark pool that have printed on top of each other, and it's really hard to draw two separate lines, and they show up as white. So there is a white line at 115 on AMD. I would call that pretty significant level. Mark it up on your chart. Keep an eye out for it, okay? So the flow index sold off, a little pop, right? So it made a higher low. If it can make a higher high, then I think the general uptrending direction for AMD can continue. Contrarian, if it starts making lower lows, I think it will pull price action back down to it. Like I said, I like that 115 base level. In between there, in the last 7 days, there's a variety. 120 regular blocks, 150, 114. I haven't really seen what AMD is doing pre-market, but I would anticipate the flow index, I think they're selling out of this. They're going to start taking profits, at least for the next cycle, okay? That's how it works. We're going to get into the requests now, and the first person here gets the first request, and who was it? Killer? Killer didn't put enough requests. Terry was next. What you got, Terry? Tesla? Yes, absolutely. Let's look at Tesla. All right, this is bearish divergence on Tesla, right? Definitely smart money is taking profits, right? They're like, hey, Tesla is at a good position for us to take some profits and wait for it to pull back and get into it again. So divergence occurred at this $900 level, right? This mini divergence right here played out, right? So what we're looking for is areas where the flow index is heading in one direction, whereas where the price is heading in another direction, right? You see that? So 970, there's a divergence there. Tesla is flagging, so bull flag breakout is a very real possibility. Let me show you the blocks for just the last 6 days. All right, so this includes the end of last week. Okay, there's a regular and a dark pull level at 980.57. That's your downside magnet. You've got dark pull resistance at 1013. As we all knew, Tesla already ripped off pre-market, right? It already went sailing. Okay, this rounded top is very bearish in my opinion. So I like the move on Tesla back down to 1,000, possibly 997. Right, 997. I would say if it cracks its trend line, right? Yeah, so I'm bearish on Tesla. Longer term, I mean, you can obviously scalp some intraday stuff, but just know that this flow index is taking profit. Okay, this can take 2 days to 2 weeks to trade out. There's no set time frame. I know that the Apple bearish divergence that we had took several weeks to trade out. Apple's got bearish divergence again, right? All of these large caps have some bearish divergence, so I would be looking for, some support levels on Apple. Okay, next up on the list was Bgfb. This is tough. I see a head and shoulders with a sideways neckline. I also see the flow index making a higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. I see these two little points right here. I mean, I don't like it. I would say if the flow index can make another higher high, and I think it can continue to pull price up with it. However, if it starts to make these bat ears, then I would look at some downside moves, right? It just feels very bearish. Okay, Bgfb. Okay, so let's look at Lulu. All right, Lululemon. This is a good example of price trading with the algorithm or with the flow index, right? If the flow index can continue to make higher highs and higher lows, it will pull price up with it. So they're buying into this position, right? Looks like they're day trading it basically. What I'm not seeing is any blocks coming in. All right, over the last 11 days, there was a block at 313. So if Lululemon can break 321, I think it can move up to 330, taking profit at about 326. But yeah, the flow index looks good. I mean, it keeps pulling price up with it. Just watch the flow index. If it makes a higher high, then expect price to be pulled back up a bit, okay? What is, I don't know what CIVI is. CIVI. I don't know what CIVI is. Sorry, it's not a stock. All right, this is Chevron. So what I see here is I see a bunch of divergences played out. All right, so the flow index was selling out of this position, drove price down with it. We have divergence that's occurred at approximately 36. All right. Massive amount of block trades. Let me break this down. All right. Looks like 37.15 is the key for the Chevron. Or, and you have to respect the flag that's there, but know that the flow index is taking profit, right? They're selling out of this position. So if 36.75, right, if this trend line cracks, know that flow index is pulling it down, right? I would look at 36.11, 35.50 to the downside, maybe even down to about 34.80. But as you can see, flow indexes, they're selling out of this position. So if they've failed to break this flag to the upside, there's your downside levels, okay? All right, Neo. Oh, Neo. We got a little bit of bullish divergence. The flow index is flagging, that's for sure, right? Dark pool support at 1968, 1991, a regular block trade magnet, $20.50. Above that, 22. There's a gap to fill, and the flow index is trying to make higher lows and higher highs. So I like Neo to the upside, right? As long as it can maintain its uptrending support, right? This little trend line that it's created for itself from who knows where, way back here, right? The flow index, higher low and higher high, 2050, and then following up 22. To the downside, it looks like there's a little gap to fill down to 1883, and then they trade down to 1732, but this is bullish in my opinion. Okay. Neo. JJ wants to look at SPY. Johnny, did I get you, bro? I feel like I missed you. All right, SPY. Let's see how the flow index is maintaining. Right. See that right there? I mean, I'm trying to manipulate it, but I think so. We immediately have price heading in one direction and the flow index heading in another. So I would say 444 downside magnet for SPY. Yeah. I like the 445 puts on SPY, to be honest with you. Just capitalize on this little bit of divergence. We do have divergence down to 448, right? So we know that 448 will get played out, but does it continue to move down to previous support? All right. Bgfb. Look at Netflix real quick. All right, so the flow index is making higher lows and higher highs. I don't like these bat ears on Netflix. Anytime I see this, it's typically very bearish. All right, let's see. Look for a flag breakout, right? We've got right. If that can break out, then I think it can rip Tesla out of this lower low cycle. We have regular or dark pull at 371.50. We have another one at 375.71. Right, that's a good range. I would like to see. I'd go long above 375 to 380, 385, as long as the flow index supports that and does a nice flag breakout. Okay. That's Netflix. Yes, AAPL. All right, super bearish on Apple, right? 172, 171. I like the 167.50 puts on Apple. There's massive divergence all the way down to 156. Right, even here 163. So 162.50. 162.50 puts on Apple. CIVI. Civitas Resources. Interesting. Yeah. Let me reach out. Well, I don't know why it's not showing. Oh, I guess it does show. Interesting. Yeah. I mean, this is a parabolic stock, right? Flow index is trading with price right now. There's a gap from 58, or got a regular block at 58.86, and there's a gap up to 61. But watch the flow index. If it keeps making those big gnarly moves to the upside, just strap in and hold on. I personally would look for some puts, right? 61, 60 put, like the 60 or 61 puts, just knowing that eventually it's going to come back. But yeah, that's a nice move. A little extended. Like, I don't want to chase this. Like, if we would have got in back here, I would have been fine. But I think it's a little overextended for me, even though the flow index is still continuing to push it higher and higher. Okay. Oxy. I got to run after this. I'm going to do Oxy. I'm going to do BBBY, and I'm going to do wheat, and then I'm out. All right. Oxy. Flow index trading with price, right? Flow index trading with price. You can anticipate, that's right, price to continue to move downwards. If we break support here, right? We have a dark pool at 58.71, 58.45, 58.09. Break those dark pools, regular block down here at 57.50. Below that, we start filling some gaps to the downside. Okay. I don't like this rounding pattern. Okay, so I'm bearish on Oxy. BBBY. Right, we've got Phoenix is just trading with price right now. Looks like there's a little bit of a wedge. I miss the days of seeing wedges everywhere. I do. Regular dark pool 22.59. Another dark pool at 22.10. Phoenix is trading with price. It's above it, so if it continues to make higher lows and higher highs, I think it will pull BBBY up with it. If the short squeeze mentality starts to come in, I think that this thing can launch, right? I played this one before. It'll go from 20 to 35 in an instance, right? But just know smart money is trading with price, okay? And then I don't think I can do wheat. Bullishly diverged, obviously, right? 1043, 1038, 1045 support, right? And he dipped back and ripped. So this is a large influx of capital coming in, these big giant moves up. So let's just keep an eye on that. Trading zone top is 1081 at 1075. Above 1075, it gets real chunky up. All right, I do got to run. Thanks for joining me. It's glad to be back. I will see you all tomorrow. Have a great day. I'm Dark Algo. Hit the like button on your way out the door. Stay safe, stay green, and